Hey, Toon Army. Wondering what our lineup's going to be? Want to know who's available and who's hurt? Do you want an in-depth analysis of what to expect from the upcoming match? Then don't sweat it, because you're in the right place. It's time for the Toon Review's Match Preview Show. Enjoy.
Good evening, everybody in YouTube world, and if you're listening later on in podcast world, good evening to you as well. Stato is here, don't worry about it. I've just sent some complete random of the stream for tonight, so Elizabeth. Somebody may pop up in the I don't know.
Let's hope not.
Now listen, tonight a bit of a different show for you because obviously we need to chat about last night, the World Cup squad, of course, which I did a video on earlier on today, so hopefully you've seen that, and of course to talk about the Chelsea game as well on Saturday evening. But we'll go through some comments first, and then we'll have a bit of a chat about last night. Chipper says, glad we got through last night. 3 of the big 6 going out makes it possible to go for this cup. Good evening, Stu. Barbara says, I think this is a big game coming up. It puts a marker down to how far we have come. A win is a must. Gary, good evening, with the usual mod rules there. Lots of people saying hello, everybody. Colin says, hi, everyone. Here we go again, and I love it. He loves it. Mm-hmm. Ken, in the house, good evening, everyone. Let's look forward to a show with loads of good-natured banter. The future looks bright. Let's enjoy the journey. Spacebar, good evening to you. Peter says, good evening, all. It's official. I'm totally hooked on TTR. Even had withdrawal symptoms last night. Last night was just a no-goer. I was sitting in the stadium last night. And my phone was pinging for, let's just say a good 45 minutes, and I was seeing all these messages saying it's on there, it's not on there, it's here, there, it's everywhere. And listen, we will only bring you quality watch-alongs if we have quality streams to watch. And unfortunately, last night, as happened to a lot of people, it was very, very difficult to stream the match last night. So we weren't going to have a bit-part stream where it kept dropping off all the time. It wouldn't be worth it. And it wouldn't be fair on Billy either to have to cope with that. So
it was very difficult to listen to it with that commentary as well, to be fair.
To be fair, it was very difficult to watch in the stadium, Alex, if I'm openly honest. But
it wasn't the most comfortable of evenings, I don't believe.
No, it was more the Irish guy. I don't know his name, but it was more just reacting to things, but not explaining it. He would go, "Oh,
I go,"
and just not say anything.
Are we talking about John Anderson here?
Yeah, you go.
Yes,
get on.
Or something. Yeah, he kept saying "get on." It's like
he does have a bit of a reputation for being like that, to be honest. But
and
listen,
the other one, how he was very negative as well. Very negative. He kept saying, "Oh, here we go. We'll always get locked out of penalties." And I was like, "Oh, what's the point in listening?"
Listen, I have to admit, when it went to penalties, I did fancy us. I don't know why. I just thought Nick Pope in goal. Very, very different to penalties in the past. We'll come on to that shortly. But listen, I did get one comment. Somebody called JP, somebody on left a comment on my match reaction and says, "Oh, here we go again. Negative Paul, negative this, negative that." Now, I don't think my reaction video was that negative last night. I said we didn't play well, which we didn't. Some of those players had the opportunity last night to step up to the plate to push for a first team spot. Didn't do it. But I also said that the main thing is that we're through to the next round, and that's what it's all about. So whoever this guy is, I basically sent him a rant back. And you can imagine I was very polite about it as well. So, just, you know what I mean? He wasn't even at the game. Now,
I've told you before, Paul, don't have an opinion.
I know.
An opinion.
But, the fact that it wasn't at the game, and I have to say that first half, I very nearly fell asleep. It was atrocious, and I nearly turned on my own kids because I'm, taking them. It's always shite when we go to the match with the kids.
Poor Ben.
Yeah, but listen,
it was all right in the friendlies. We won.
But listen, when we made the changes, obviously it picked up a little bit, and then the penalties. The kids, I wish I'd recorded them now because they were jumping up and down, they were screaming.
That's what it's all about, man.
And when we won, Ben was jumping up that much, he pushed me out the aisle and nearly down the stairs, which would have been a serious matter to have dealt with. but they absolutely loved it. And then, unfortunately, Phoebe came out at the end, and when you're walking past the Milburn entrance, where it gets all packed and queued, she had a little bit of a wobble.
Well, anyone would.
All the people there. So we basically went straight to the car. So apologies if everybody was coming to say hello at the end of the game. Obviously Phoebe comes first, and want to get her safely back to the car. But it seemed to be manic last night in Newcastle. I don't know what it was, whether it just felt different. It felt a lot busier. We couldn't get parked where we normally do. We went in the multi-story, which, by the way, had a queue a mile long to pay for the parking when we came back, because it only has one machine on the bottom floor. So it was queued all the way back. It was just a nightmare. So
all this congestion certainly weren't Crystal Palace fans, was it?
Well, no, it wasn't, Billy. No, I mean,
good point.
How dare they? How dare they call themselves, the best supporters in the land? Because I guarantee you now, one thing I guarantee is, if in Newcastle were at Selhurst Park last night, we would have had at least 2,000 fans there. You just know we would have.
We would have took whatever allocation we would have had and sold it out, and that's it. That's how we roll.
We're of course 3.5 in Southampton, so
yeah. But Palace making excuses, saying, "Oh, it's a Wednesday night. We're playing 3 away games and all of this and it."
Absolutely, they only booked the one skateboard. I heard.
What was their excuse at St James's Park earlier this season? Then,
well, exactly.
Afternoon.
You know what? And they had the goal to be singing during the match, "Your supporters effing shit."
Wow.
I mean, all 50 of them. I mean, it was ridiculous, honestly. Just
also
50. That's generous.
I'm hearing. I heard on social media earlier that somebody got ejected from the
for singing. Yeah, it was just along from me.
Corner.
Yeah. Look, he was singing very strange songs, I have to say. Not really football. He was going, "Give us an N, give us an E, give us a W," and then he was going, "What have you got? Newcastle."
Oh, Newcastle. I would have joined in with him.
Well, some were. And then all of a sudden, you see him getting hauled out, and I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on here?
Apparently, the lady who was sat near him or in front of him said that the steward and police had approached him and said that they'd had complaints about him singing from the people around him. Oh, how it's a cup game.
Yeah, but this happens, Danielle, all the time when it's not like proper fans getting the tickets. You know what I mean? It's you go to a football match, you expect people to sing and chant. It's part of the game.
I would have been fuming me if I'd seen it.
Perhaps singing chants from 1972 didn't go his way.
No, but listen.
But
shame on the stewards and the police as well, by the way, because it people are going there for a good time and don't get to go very often, and then some stick in the mud ruins it for them. It's pathetic, really. But that's what we've come to expect these days, guys. Unfortunately, it's the way it is. Shane, good morning to you over there in Australia. Absolutely no reason we can't beat Chelsea this weekend. Seen some Chelsea podcasts already, and they're not confident at all. No, I've seen a few saying that they are not looking forward to coming to St James's Park. By the way, guys, just a quick reminder, if you do enjoy tonight's show, please do hit that like button and help us move up those YouTube search results. And also, if you'd like to become a member of the Toon Review, please do hit the join button, which is just underneath the video. Or if you're on iOS, pop across to Instagram, click on the link on there for the Toon Review, and it'll take you a desktop version where you can join. And of course, if you're not already, please do subscribe. We are well on the way now to 15,500. And then it will be 16 after that. So we keep rising, guys. So thank you very much for everybody that has subscribed lately. And as usual, if you want to donate to the channel tonight, you can via Super Chat if you just hit that $sign at the bottom of the live comments, and it will take you through that way. So thank you very much in advance for that. John says, evening all, scrape through with the penalties, but I wish the penalty takers just do a normal run-up and cut out all the shuffle and skipping. Leave all that stuff on the dance floor. Up there one says, evening. What fab news to hear Callum Wilson in the World Cup squad. Still some awful choices. Pope, Wilson and Trippier, and even Maddison. Great. Yep, indeed. Spike Milligan, good evening. Hope everyone's good. Scrappy game. Pope got us through. Peter says, we've nothing to fear from Chelsea. We will get goals as their defence is crap. Colin says, a few weeks ago, my wife said, why don't you try YouTube? It might have some football on, and now I'm never off it.
It happened to me about a bit ago.
I hope you've got yourself subscribed there, Colin. Good evening to David. Spacebar says, that's what we need to do and approach the game with no fear. and with some confidence. I've got no doubt about that. Colin, some good stuff on YouTube, obviously, because we're on it. Yeah, this is
That's
goes
fair.
without saying.
This is the place to be.
Absolutely. Keith, good evening to you. Ian says, good evening, Paul, Billy, Alex, and Danielle, and the mods. Hope everyone's okay. We are indeed. Jacka says, evening, team. Hope everyone's well. Great news on the World Cup squad. Could the Toon lads be bringing it home? How are the lads and lasses? Colin says, I've been a Toon fan for over 50 years, and this is the best. Julie J is in the house. Good evening. Paul Tully says, glad we're through in the cup, but likely a difficult game against Chelsea. Bruno will be bang up for it after his penalty miss. I felt a bit sorry for him because he was pouring his heart out on social media. He was absolutely gutted. But look, the run-up, the penalty, it was all wrong. I mean, it just was all wrong. He didn't set himself right, and he ballooned it. But listen, many people have said on social media that he deliberately missed, so he could give the glory to Nick Pope, of course, because that's the kind of camaraderie that we have in the team. So Bruno says, I'm not taking...
First penalty he's ever missed.
I know. It was awful.
So it works from generally.
The thing is, though, I just think, it's a learning for him, isn't it? And the amount of things he's done for us since joining this club, I can forgive him that.
Christ.
When you see his little face in the team photo, he looks. He looks
like he's about to cry, doesn't he?
Buy him a pick.
I can't handle those run-ups either, though. To be fair.
Oh.
The run-up was all wrong. Look, if he's going to run up, keep running up and lash the ball. Don't then just stop and stutter for a few yards because it doesn't work that way.
Botman's is poor as well. Mm-hmm.
Well, you never let her.
I was surprised Botman took one. I was like, I thought, where the hell's Miggy or Joe Willock? But then I saw Miggy having a big long chat with Eddie Howe at the end of the game in the middle of the pitch. And I just wonder if Miggy had said, yeah, I'm going to take one. And then Eddie hasn't put him on the list of the first five.
See, I don't know, me. I think it's a bit of a risk. I thought it would be a bit of a risk. Yeah. I think if Miggy had stepped up and something had happened and he'd missed or he'd been saved or whatever, I don't know what that would have done to his confidence. I don't know. So, I don't know. I mean, as soon as I saw Bruno, I thought, oh, thank God. Like, here comes Bruno. But it's just one of them things. But, Saturday's another game. We'll move on.
Look, sure I think, look, a lot of people are saying about the performance yesterday, etc. It wasn't great until they made the changes when we looked like we could get it. We started putting pressure on Palace. I thought first half it was just drab. We were all over the place. There was no coherence in the team. The attacking was non-existent. The build-up was so slow.
We did have 8 changes to the starting line.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Expected.
That's what I mean, Alex. We were all over
in the second string at the moment.
Yeah.
They haven't played.
They didn't look like they knew where each other was going. But listen, they kept Palace out as well. Yeah, a few good saves from Nick Pope, obviously. But going in at 0-0, you think, right, try for the first 15, 20 minutes of the half. If it's still the same, then make change, which he did. We had opportunities, but again, I mean, some people, Chris Wood had a big opportunity last night. He didn't get himself involved in the game. Listen, the man is a fantastic penalty taker. I have absolutely no doubt about that. He took his penalty with so much confidence, and I was pleased. Right in the top corner, brilliant penalty. But then, we didn't really give him anything to feed on last night because Maxi was off his game completely. And Elliot Anderson, I thought, struggled as well. He didn't get any balls into the box. But some people didn't show up. I mean, it's clear that Lascelles is fourth choice centre-back for a reason. And what did it for me last night with Lascelles was when Kieran Trippier came on at right back, twice Kieran Trippier held his hands up and shook his head when he didn't get the ball off Lascelles because he was in acres of space. Lascelles just turned and gave the easy pass to Botman. And it's those type of things that you see the class difference when Botman's on the pitch or Botman and Cher are playing together. The speed that they move the ball is so much quicker than Jamal Lascelles, and that's where the difference is. But look, at the end of the day, we didn't concede a goal again, and we're through to the next round. And we're in the hat tonight, and that's the important thing. Geordie Metal, thank you very much for your 20 quid super chat. He says, haven't seen Chelsea recently. We have nothing to fear. It's them who will be fearful coming here. And a £5 super chat from Ian Fleming. Thanks, Ian. What did you think of Lascelles last night? Did not think he was that great, but he got 9 out of 10 in the Chronicle. Listen, if you want to have a laugh when you do player ratings, go and read the Chronicle's player ratings, because every single week they have the most bizarre player ratings I've ever seen in my life. There was no way Lascelles was a 9 out of 10 last night. Absolutely no way.
Surprised anyone bar Nick Pope got a 9 out of 10, to be honest.
Well, the thing is, Danielle, Lascelles got caught 3 times in the first half and then outdone for pace. He lost the ball 3 times and Palace broke on us in our own half. And it was Jamal Lascelles who lost the ball 3 times in that situation. So just incredible. And I thought Sean Longstaff looked dead on his feet. He was absolutely, I was surprised he started last night because he was knackered. Arturo, thank you very much for your €10 super chat. A gift for you, great guys, for entertaining me. Keep up the good work. January window, new names. Alex Longstaff, he looked exhausted.
Yeah, he's played about 65,000 games this season. He's played all the minutes during the congested period. I'm not surprised. And it's probably not as, I mean, I can't comment on it too much because I didn't watch the game. A lot of what I do and what I say stems from being able to watch everything. I can't really tell is it because there were so many changes, the press wasn't quite right? Was he having to do more running than usual and got tired quicker? Or is it just fatigue from just playing so many games? It's difficult to know which is which because, so many of us were not able to watch the game.
Yep.
But he's played a lot. But we've got one more game. Let's try and get over the Chelsea hurdle, and then everybody can have a rest.
Yeah, I think that's important. Just go out, give it their all against Chelsea, and then, and as you say, they'll get a decent rest. Good evening, Sophia. Spacebar's asking which team photo. The one in the dressing room, mate. He just does not look happy at all. Rochi, good evening. Anders says, I love Bruno, but I don't want to see him kick a penalty ever again. Well, that's a bit harsh, mate. But
I just think it's one of those things. Like,
of course it is. Yeah. Listen, he was pumped up, and I think he went for the special finish, and it didn't quite work. But it doesn't matter. We're through. So Mick Max says, good evening, my fellow Toonies. Rachel's in the house, Wadden backstage. Brian says, seeing some sun today now that the hurricane has passed. Well, aren't you lucky to see some sun? But they're very unlucky about the hurricane as well. So, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Bruno should record a song in the cup for Newcastle. Ian says, what was the skinny with what happened to the stream for the game? What was this skinny?
Yeah, I guess it means story. It wasn't broadcast anywhere on the planet, so there was nothing for anyone to see it on. So
yeah, I mean, one channel did have it, but whether that was legal is
I can't confirm it was not.
Well, so, there you go. Yeah, I don't think I actually have heard stories of Newcastle United aren't really pleased about that, to be honest. But that's for someone else to deal with, not us. Andy says, I hope Bruno gets the penalty miss out of his system. Of course he will.
Yeah. Do you know what? As soon as he gets back on the training ground, I think Eddie will have a word. Honestly, I do. I think it'll be absolutely fine. I think he brings so much to this team. He brings so much. And we can forgive him.
And that's what a lot of fans did say on social media today under his comment. Just like, come on, Bruno, get your head up. We love you here. You've done so much since you come to the club. Don't want to the fact that we won as well. I mean, it's just gone. Leave it.
Forget about it.
Absolutely. Francisco says, evening fam, one more game and then the rest and regroup. Love to everyone in the chat, mods, and you awesome four. Thank you very much, matey. Mr. Farry, the new background, fantastic. Indeed it is. He's working on a World Cup one for me as well, which is fantastic. I've seen a little preview of it today. Paul Tully says, crazy how little streaming was available last night. Just two Premier League sides. Well,
I had struggles getting on the commentary on NUFC TV. Like, literally took us all first half to get on because the website kept crashing every time I was hitting the button. Eventually it came on and they blew the whistle for half time, and I thought, typical.
I know. NUFC Shane says, you need to step up, Paul. Someone had inside the ground screen casting him the game. Yeah, it could be very big trouble for that through the club, and also the EFL may not take too kindly to that. But hey ho, we move on. Listen, it doesn't matter. We're through. I don't understand how, two Premier League sides going at it in the Carabao Cup wasn't televised yet. Liverpool's kids against Derby wars, etc. It just beggars belief, man. And it still shows you this little bit of favoritism towards, the certain others, shall we say. KB says, hi, everyone. Great to be with a fantastic four for another marvellous Toon review show. Bloody cracker from Belfast with love. Thank you very much. Christian says, I see that Man U are
starting Dubravka.
Yes, they are starting Dubravka. You could also say are shite.
20 minutes gone, and it's the most dreadful 20 minutes I think I've seen this year. This is one cup tie where I want both sides to lose horrifically.
Christ, it'll take a lot to beat yesterday's first half. Jesus. Lawrence says, we'll never not be nervous for a shootout. I think last night was the first one I've seen in person where the team I wanted to win actually won. Yeah, indeed. Of course, it means that Dubravka's now cup tied. If he was to come back to us next season.
No.
I don't think that's really going to matter.
That was a little bit Jurassic Park, that mind. It was almost a little bit Jordan Pickford.
Yeah. Tom says it was a poor game yesterday, but we went through. Paul says Longstaff was already knackered, but maybe Howe saw it as his last full game with Joe being available for Chelsea. Joe was excellent last night, by the way. I mean, he was the standout player for me, along with Nick Pope. Joe Linton he was a boss again, knocking people over, fighting for the ball, playing some lovely passes. And I've heard people say that Shelvey wasn't very good, and I'm finding that very hard to understand because, again, I don't know whether it's just because his name's John Joe Shelvey. I thought he played really well last night. He was spraying the ball around, in the John Joe style that we've actually missed. So I don't quite understand where people were coming from. Was he outstanding? No, he wasn't. But he certainly wasn't poor. And he was getting back, covering Lascelles' ass twice in the second half. So, let's be fair. Francisco says, another example of the maturity of our team. Even on a night where we didn't play well, we won. Some people can't grasp the difference between constructive criticism and whining. Absolutely, Tony. Well said. Absolutely. Ab says your reaction video was spot on for me, though Maxi did a few decent things. He did. Look, I'm not saying that Maxi was terrible. I'm saying he just wasn't his normal style, but you can put that down to a lot of things. The fact that he's missed so many games, he's getting himself match fit again. So it just... And he was playing with players that he's not used to playing with in the starting 11 because he doesn't have the quality around him that he normally does.
He's a lot better than Wilson's in front of him and not Wood, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. One player who I did think really struggled last night, Matty Targett. Now, again, you could put that down to not playing many games this season, but obviously Eddie Howe sees something in Dan Burnett left back that he doesn't see in Matt Targett at the minute. And don't get us wrong, Targett grew into the game eventually. He did all right, certainly second half. But first half, a little bit funny. Shamrock says, your kids are a bad omen. Well, they're not because they won on penalties, so there. I thought that. I did think that. Without a shadow of a doubt, I did think that. Certainly when it went to penalties, I was looking at them thinking, why have I brought yous here? But to be honest, to see the little faces jumping up and down during the penalty shootout, because obviously everybody was standing up, the penalties were at the Leazer's end. It was to see the little faces during the penalty shootout, and when we won, it was fantastic. But I mean, Billy, going to left back, Matt Targett obviously hasn't played a lot, but do you think that Eddie Howe sees a bit more now in Dan Burnett left back than he does Targett?
At the precise moment in time, yes, because Matt Targett isn't match fit, is he? He's hardly had any minutes. And I think last night he'll probably come on for that. It'll probably be better. It's a shame there's only one game left before the break, but I think Burnett will play Saturday for sure. But Dan Burnett's done nothing wrong, has he? So it's his shirt to lose, in my opinion. Matty Targett, I don't know whether he was injured or then had a bit of a virus. He just hasn't seemed to have been fully fit for so long. When he's coming at right back a couple of times. He's not looked the greatest when he's gone to left back. Yeah,
he just didn't seem like like he did the start of this season and when he played last season, very sort of not outstanding, but he's just fluent, and just very, very steady away player. But listen, I mean, Dan Burns come in and he hasn't looked back. So, and for me, he's done nothing wrong at all. So, Foxy says was predictable to see yesterday's game go to penalties with all the changes. Comes down to luck at the end of the day. Unfortunately, we had it on our side. Wouldn't mind Lincoln or Charlton next round. Well, there's a few, isn't there? There's
a lot of my family are Charlton fans, so I'd definitely go to that if it's Charlton away.
Wow. Look, on the penalties being lucky, I think that's doing Nick Pope a bit of a disrespect because he clearly had the mindset to, mind over matter when it came to them. He was, the saves he made were really good saves.
Eddie Howe mentioned specifically that first save was like top draw.
Yeah. So, yes, it's a lottery in penalties, but if your goalkeeper's as good as Nick Pope is, then you've always got half a chance of winning the shootout. Mike says when players play a substantial amount of game time and underperform, they are then open to criticism. It's when a player is playing 10 minutes here and 15 minutes there and they get slaughtered, I don't like. Yeah, that's fair enough. That is fair enough. But I just thought, Billy, some of them players coming in yesterday, they had a big opportunity to give Eddie Howe a real headache and say, right, I want to be in that starting 11, Premier League 11. I want to be there. I want to prove that I'm good enough. And some just didn't do it.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's down to the opposition as well. I mean, Crystal Palace are quite a negative side, aren't they, when they play away from home? We saw that in the league game.
Oh my God, they were there to play for penalties last night. There was no doubt about that.
I think that's justice. They played penalties and missed 3 of them. I think that's fantastic, poetic justice to the nth degree. They're a very negative side. They come away from home. They put as many men behind the ball as possible, and they're hard to break down. We saw that in the league game, and I think last night with a weakened side, I think we saw it again.
Yeah, one player, Alex, who I think might be ready to leave is Javi Manquillo. He just not good.
I'd be willing to agree with what Mike's just said, and maybe it's down to him not having a lot of minutes at all or any consistency in the side, because he was absolutely fine in the early months of Eddie Howe. He was one of the better performers until Trippier signed. He wasn't bad. He scored. He was fit. He was getting up and down. He was even used as a left back option. And then he had a couple of wobbles and an injury. I don't know. He's 28 years old. When you consider the fullbacks that we've got floating around in the squad behind him, with the likes of Dummett and Lewis, who have not really featured, and Richie, and Kraft still out. Is he the long-term answer? Absolutely not. But right now, we're going to need, until we go and dip into the market for Kieran Trippier's understudy, it's going to need to be Manquillo or Kraft always there as a backup. So
listen, if I'm honest, if Kieran Trippier got injured, God forbid, I'd be worried. I would be worried about the right back situation. He just looks a mile off it to where he was.
It might be consistency.
I can understand that, but
happened with Kraft. Kraft was poor and grew into it.
But didn't you make a comment on Sunday's review show, Alex, about Mr. Manquillo and how he's a professional footballer and should be in the right position?
Well, that was from a set piece misunderstanding. We ended up having Byrne at right back and Manquillo at left back, and it all went a bit wrong. That's what happens when you make sort of large amounts of substitutions and you're in. Yeah. You've got set pieces coming at you, especially with lads that haven't played in a long time. I mean, you can say, but this is the silly argument of, they get paid tons of money, they should just be amazing. It doesn't work like that. They're human beings. They're not robots.
Stephen's taken he's got no sentiment, no time for sentiments, or they haven't played in a while. Get them out, bring in quality, in my opinion, to move forward as a club. And I'm sure that's what they will do.
Completely wrong, though. That's completely wrong, because if we applied that to the previous transfer windows, like Murphy was playing very poor football, so he would have gone if we'd have used your logic. But he's been stuck with the coaching staff and the manager, and Murphy's been really useful for us, really useful. As has Miggy. A lot of people at the start of the summer would have sold Miggy.
Yeah.
Look what he's
However,
doing
there is now 2 games in the Carabao where some of these players have came in and not performed. But look, at the end of the day,
was equally poor.
Moving forward, I think he will play stronger sides in this competition because now, with the teams that have been knocked out, I certainly don't fear playing Man City. If we ever met Man City and we played Man City in the final, I think we'd give them a good game. Now, whether Man City won it or not, it doesn't matter. I don't fear playing anybody at the minute with the best team. Yeah, exactly.
I think we need our strongest 11, but we can definitely give anybody a game on our day.
Yeah. Ab says you can't tell a Brazilian flair player to run up to penalties like a Stoke player. Yeah, but I mean, look at the other penalties before that. Look at Chris Woods. Look at Joe Linton's, Kieran Trippier's. No fancy run-ups. Just run up, place the ball brilliantly, and you score. Right. Those 3 penalties were all very, very good penalties, by the way. And so just why a sprint, then stop, and then do a little sort of stampede?
Can we just be clear? We're not hating on Bruno.
Absolutely not.
No one's hating on Bruno. Everyone's just kind of said it's just one of those things, and it needs to be forgotten about. We'll move on. He's done so many fantastic things for us. It's just
exactly. And he's a flair. He likes the flair. He's Brazilian. He's always going to do something like that.
Yeah, of course. No one's perfect all the time. He's perfect 99.99999%.
I'll just say that's the first one he's missed. So if he uses that one up every time, it's obviously a bad one. But that's the way he likes to do it. So,
I mean, what I did find surprising was that he put it over the bar. Not so much the run-up. It was just the penalty itself. It was strange that he ballooned it.
If it had been saved, that's a different story, but it just completely missed.
Yeah. Mason says, I'm surprised we didn't have VAR with it being in the Premier League stadium. There's no VAR in the...
later on.
I think it's in the final, isn't it? Or semis?
Semis or final, they mentioned it. I can't remember.
Yeah, but something like that.
It'll be whenever they're unhappy with our progress. When we get to a certain round that they don't like.
Yeah, exactly.
Steps in.
They'll roll Mighty now like there's no tomorrow, won't they?
Oh, what's that? They're in the semi-final. Oh no, we need to get VAR on this.
Yeah, they'll roll him out in a chair. Mm-hmm. Foxy says Dan Burner's been good, but to have to be fair and say Tomori not getting picked is criminal. He's our best English centre back. We'll come on to the England squad.
As will most teams at the World Cup.
Your mic's off, Alex.
He wants to play a back 5, that's why.
Clearly. Yeah, I get that impression as well.
That's why Cody's in the squad.
I did mention that on my video that I thought that's what he's going to go for, isn't it? John says, I was over the moon last night with the win. Isn't that what good teams do? Find a way to win when they're not playing well. Yeah, but it wasn't that we didn't play well. We just were disjointed because we had an 11 that haven't been playing together and we're a bit all over. Nathan says, I don't mind a stutter in the run-up, but Bruno went a bit over the top with it. Well, he did. He went about two yards over the bar. Mary says, happy for the lads who got their England call-ups. Absolutely. Botman's was not a bad penalty. It was a good save, says Barbara. It wasn't great, but we went through.
Centre-half taking penalties.
Nah.
Regardless of whether it was good or not.
I was baffled when I saw him walk. Well, a lot of fans were like, oh, Botman?
I'll tell you, centre-half, he took a good penalty. Killer. Fantastic at him.
Kilcline, yeah, he did.
Our whole squad. Probably Fabian Schär is the only centre-half I would maybe trust because he's got a good shot on him anyway. It's not like we see Botman hit 30-yard screamers. Whereas
Fabian Schär's took a few penalties for us in the past, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got a knack for that, and he's a free kick taker as well. He's trusted in those sorts of positions anyway.
Yep. Jamie says, evening guys, is the Carabao Cup draw tonight? It is indeed. We will have it on this very show. Nicholas Jackson to Newcastle. I'm not sure who he is, but never mind.
Dubravka in that yellow kit is disgusting.
I know it is. It knocked me sick earlier when I saw him.
It's Alex's face when he said that. It's disgusting.
Oh, it is just awful.
Oh, man. Foxy says Miggy has scored 6 out of 7 penalties in his career. Surprised he didn't take one. Yeah, I was. But as I say, I don't know whether something went on. Just I saw Eddie Howe having a long conversation with Miggy in the centre circle at the end before they went and celebrated with the rest of them. And, it was all smiles, but they did have a very long conversation. So I don't know. Spike Milligan, thank you for your £20 super chat. Very kind, my friend. As we invest in the team, we'll have 2 first teams to choose from. Yeah, we will end up.
That's all.
We'll be a little bit like City in the end, won't we? Where we've just got so many good players to choose from. It doesn't matter what team we put out. We still put out a very, very strong side. Good evening to Mr. Marsden. Hope you're well. Absolutely terrorised by Ben last night. It's fair to say. Certainly coming out the ground.
Was the chili burgers involved?
Well, he did have a chili burger, yes, but he said it wasn't very nice. And I thought, walking up to the ground where he was eating it, I thought he was actually going to pass away. Man United scored, Billy?
No, McTominay just elbowed someone in the face and got away with it. Just for the 8,000th time in his career.
Yeah, as normal. As normal. Did Botman make the Netherlands team? Have they announced it yet? No. Netherlands haven't announced their World Cup side yet.
You will. I think you will.
Do you? You think it'll be interesting?
I'll back them all the way.
Because they do have an array of centre-backs, Holland.
They do.
I know, but he's not. None of them are like 00 Sven. Do you know what I mean?
00 Sven, exactly. But listen, he's got a long career ahead of him.
He'll get it next time, won't he? Because he's class. That's
it. Mike says, I thought Burns' header from Maxi was a massive miss. Burn deserves a goal. It was. He had either side to put it, and he put it straight at the keeper. And I think, look, judging by Dan Burns' reaction when he headed that, he knows he could have scored that, and maybe should have, but it wasn't to be. Spacebar says, Mike, it's my main bugbearer with a few of our centre-backs is we don't use our height well enough.
Yeah, imagine when we start scoring 1 or 2 a month from centre-backs from corners and stuff.
Yeah, but you could blame the deliveries. They're not exactly aimed at the big guys. And then we do this one where we always seem to put a big guy round the back post, to knock it back across. Why not just plant it into that 6-yard line and get all of them? Woof.
It normally works. We normally do get it back across.
Well, I know. Hey-ho. Sharon Botman are far more comfortable on the ball. Lascelles is good at defending, but not quick thinking enough. That's a good point, Neil. That is, you've probably put that very well, actually. Lascelles, he can defend, right? But sometimes he's a little late with the tackles, and sometimes he steps up to try and tackle and gets caught out like he did last night 3 times. But he's a good tackler of the ball. But when he gets the ball, it's just, it's slow. He just can't, his mind doesn't process where he needs to put the ball quick enough compared to Botman and Shea. When they get the ball, they ping it out of the wings or they ping it through the middle. Lascelles is always just either back to the goalkeeper or to his defensive partner. And it's too slow. It really is. Call Me Swift says, all right, everyone, sorry I'm late. What did people think of Matty Targett last night? Also, I do think Maxi made some great passes. We've had a chat about Matt Targett, and it is what it is. It was telling to see Lascelles last night. He looked out of place. If Botman looks Champions League, Lascelles looks Championship. Are we doing ratings? Because I thought he was a 4 out of 10 for me.
I'm not rating someone I haven't seen.
No, we can't do player ratings because you guys haven't seen the match. So to be fair, it would only be me doing player ratings, and people are just waiting to crucify me for anything I say. So bollocks to that. But there you go. They just can't wait. Ooh, if I say one bad thing, it's you negative you. When all we've done is, and who the hell is that guy on Twitter, Billy?
Which guy?
Sniffer.
He calls himself Sniffer. Who the hell is he?
Just some bellend. Has a very strange friend, let's just say, that we all know who I'm talking about here. They're very close together and came across and started slagging you off. So me, Ryan, Jimmy, a few others, Roy, defended you gallantly. Oh, was he? Was he diverting the fathead comments and everything at me? Was he? Yeah. All right. Okay.
You haven't got a fat head though.
Well, no, it's quite in proportion with my stomach's a little large. But listen, I don't care.
Actually, when you think about it, you know something? If you stood up, obviously you can't, but when you stand up, you've actually got quite a small head, haven't you, really? I don't think you've got a big fat head.
What, not stand up to show his head? What head are you talking about here?
Oh, shut up. You know what I mean. It's not fighting night.
In comparison to the size of... I get where you come from.
Head, though.
Look, it's cheap shots, isn't it? And people...
people having to comment on somebody's appearance to make
absolutely.
Look good.
Listen, absolutely. The worst part of it was, he was saying... he wouldn't dare say these things to Lascelles, blah, 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 when he's got no profile picture of himself and he's talking all the time.
But the thing he's wrong about was, I would actually say these things to the players because it's constructive criticism. It's not hate. You know what I mean? There's a big difference. Calling somebody fathead and all the other stuff that you did, but listen, it's fine. If you want to try and score points for your mates, then you go and do that. But we don't react to that sort of shit anymore. So, you can swivel. Now, apparently Dan Burn is on standby for England. I've heard this from numerous people today that he's in a list of 5 on standby for any injuries. So, listen, all is not lost for Dan Burn by the looks of things, and there is a chance that injuries might suggest that.
Dan Burn's versatility should have stood him in good stead, but the one glaring omission is for Coyote Tomori. Why he's not in that squad, I will never know. Absolutely.
And then,
but then you could have questioned who is in the squad, really. I mean,
let's have a good. Let's move on to the England squad because I find it astounding that Eric Dyer. I mean, what planet or what universe does anybody think he's an international footballer? I don't get it. I mean, that mistake he made against Liverpool the other day was just horrid. It was horrid. Harry Maguire. Look, we can talk about the cows come home about Harry Maguire. He doesn't play for Manchester United, right? I mean, is he playing tonight?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
I don't know. They interviewed him before the game.
He's playing, and strange enough that he's keeping a clean sheet so far.
Yeah. So the only games he can maybe play for Man United are Carabao Cup games. Yet we know he's going to be a starter for England in the World Cup. I find it bizarre. I think it's fantastic James Maddison's in. I'm really pleased for James Maddison.
Me too.
Plus the fact that he could be a Newcastle United player in January, which is an even bigger thing. But I'm delighted.
I think going back to the conversation we had when the last squad was announced, we talked about messages it gives out to players for the future in terms of what you need to do to get into this team. So I think if Maddison hadn't been included, what a message that would have been, in my opinion.
It's so mixed. There's no consistency with his message. He said he's not included Abraham.
Ivan Toney. He picked him for the Nations League, Alex. And then he drops him.
No, that's not my point. My point is Abraham versus Wilson. He said he didn't pick Abraham because he's not been in the greatest form or playing, whereas Wilson's been playing every game and scoring. But Maguire hasn't played any football. He's not using and Phillips. He's changing his logic across the squad for when it suits whichever narrative he's currently pushing. It makes no sense. If he had a clear, concise sort of ethos for the whole team, then that would be fine. We could just, we might not agree with it, but we would have to accept it as his decision. But he's just pick and choosing various narratives and applying them to different parts of the squad. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. I would pick Eric Dyer, by the way.
The big thing in his squad.
The
big thing in his squad is there's a massive imbalance in it. He's taking one left back, and the reserve left back is our first choice right back. That's pathetic.
Alex, please explain Eric Dyer to me.
I'd take him over Cody and Maguire.
I'd take him over Maguire. I'm not sure about Cody. Cody's played well this season.
I still wouldn't take him.
Is he still dead here or not for this tournament?
I just don't think he's good enough. I don't think he's playing at a high enough level week in, week out. I think Dyer is playing with a much more technical team and has been reasonably solid in the back 5 for the majority of the season. He's had a couple of mistakes. He's done it for England before. And he's playing all the time for Spurs. So and then Tomori as well should be in the squad ahead of Cody. So he's basically just shutting us down for not being able to play a back 4. He's probably going to play a back 4 against Wales and Iran, maybe the USA. If he plays a back 5 against the USA, things are going to hit fan. But it seems to me like he's just going to play a back 4 in the group stage, and then if all goes well, just swap to a back 5 in the knockouts when we're playing slightly harder teams. And I'm just not there for that. But then he's like, but I'll take Gallagher and Maddison. So we've got some 10s that we can't use in the formation that I like, but we'll take them anyway. I just don't understand the man. I don't understand the man. He's confusing.
Spike Milligan, thank you for another 20 quid super chat. He says, I'll only pick informed players, question mark. Indeed.
The first conversation
makes a fool of himself.
Well, exactly. Mason Mount said he's had a crap season. I think if Mason Mount was to lose his legs in a combine harvest track, then he'd still pick him. He gets picked every single time.
Let's hope he doesn't.
Obviously.
No.
But, you know,
by the way,
got to be part of the squad every time.
Yeah, I've had a lot of messages today asking why I didn't get an invite to the media thing that Newcastle United did for certain YouTubers last night. Basically, they were all asked to go. I think there was Eddie, Adam Pearson, Matty from Magpie TV channel, and Lee from Newcastle United Fans TV. They went because they were invited because of the work they've done for the women's team. So that's why they got the invite. Of course, this channel has just started with the coverage of the women's team, and obviously we hope to sort of get that ball rolling again and keep it going. But that's why they were invited, and credit to them. They have done some fantastic work for the women's team, really pushed it on their channels, and deservedly so. So that's why they got the invites, and credit to them, totally deserved. They've all done a fantastic job pushing the women's team, which is why we want to do it on this channel. I think other channels should do it as well. And the more exposure that the ladies team get, the better. So that's why.
People, can't we? It's not about
exactly. I was chuffed to bits. I mean, I know how hard Lee works, for his channel, and
stepped in his car the other day when he went to Southampton.
Yeah, he does that regularly. And look, that's commitment. And then he drives back the same day, goes to the women's game on the Sunday. Adam obviously travels all over the place. Matty does the same when he can. And Eddie does the same. Eddie goes to the girls' games as well. And but for me, it's difficult sometimes because of commitments with kids, etc. It's very, very difficult for me.
I get there when I can.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you do. And obviously, with my illness now, I went to a lot of away games last year. I don't do it anymore because of my illness. So, things are against me to try and cover the amount of things that those guys do.
We get the chairman to come as well, and we'll have a right laugh.
Yes, exactly. But I think you need to do some more vlogging now, Danielle, for the channel when I'm not there.
I'm not being trusted with no equipment.
Danielle, you've got a phone, right? That is all you need.
I suppose.
Yes. But, it is...
Sorry, just in the worst free kick in history.
Okay.
Bruno Fernandes as well.
Oh, what a shame. So that's basically the reason, guys. And look, I'm sure we'll get an invite one day if they do it again. But they've done a fantastic job promoting the women's team, and fully deserved last night. So credit to them all. John says, even from the Isle of Man, just managed to get through last night, but I wish Bruno would take a good run up and stop all this shuffle and skipping. Haven't we read that out before?
Yeah, I think
leave that stuff on the dance floor. Maybe. Jack, great to see you and Emma up from Bristol last night for the game. Thank you very much. Took over an hour to get out the ground last night. It was great to see you. Great result, and Emma sends her love. We're safe. I hope you got back okay, Jack, if you have gone back today. It was great to see you too. Evening, guys. 3 players in the World Cup squad. Only City have more with 4. I mean, who'd have thought? John's very harsh on Mr. Bruno. Sorry, guys, but Bruno should have his ass kicked for that attempt. He was trying to be clever, too arrogant, too cocky.
That's harsh, in my opinion, but everyone's...
He wasn't trying to do a Penenka, was he? He wasn't trying to do a Penenka like Kieran Doyle did. Was it Kieran Doyle or Jermaine Genius did that time? It was just,
I just don't think we should dwell on it. Like, I really don't.
It wasn't a one-off penalty to win us the game or anything. It was in a penalty shootout. I don't get why people are making such a big thing of it. George says, Paul, I'll never complain about you and Leon chatting during the match again. Last night I had three young lads talking all the way through. Oh, George. Normal service resumed on Saturday, my friend.
We'll have a worry Saturday about something, haven't you, Paul?
Yes, me and you need to have a chat, sunshine. All will be revealed on Saturday. But
will you text me and tell me what it's about? Because I need to...
We need a chat.
Detective Sergeant Trey's been on the case.
He has indeed. He has indeed. Kyle says, do we think a loss to Chelsea will hinder our momentum, or will the break lessen the impact? Not that we will lose.
I'm just going to say no, because I think we'll be fine.
Yeah. Do you think it would, Alex? Do you think it'd damage momentum if we're lost?
No, it's too long. There's far too much time between the Chelsea game and Boxing Day. When we're playing Rayo Vallecano as well, and a friendly on the 17th of December.
Yeah,
we've got friendly fixtures. We'll be fine. I don't think that'll have any. It will be annoying. It's not like it was when we had the break. What was it? We got the Leeds win, and then we went on the 2-week break to Saudi Arabia. I think that was different. That was a much shorter break. That was just a short international break. Whereas this is weeks. This is weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And the pressure is in that little break. The focus was purely on us and how that training camp was going. The focus was all on club football. Whereas in the next month, club football is going to take a back seat. The pressure is going to be off the club, all the clubs, all the lads. It's just going to be about international football. I don't think it makes any difference. It'll be nice to win, but I don't think it'll affect the season.
Absolutely not.
Incidentally, Rayo Vallecano beat Real Madrid the other night, didn't they?
They did, yes. No, Ian, I wouldn't worry about that. Certainly for Premier League games, there is going to never will be a problem, matey, so don't worry about that.
I'm sure I had something similar last year in the Carabao. I'm sure there was something.
It's something to do with the EFL, and they've got this. I don't know.
We couldn't find a Newcastle stream after the second round last year, could we? Let's be honest, because of Steve Bruce.
Yeah. Although they didn't win 90 minutes, Billy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we never lost the game, Billy. Come on. Lauren said, I thought Shelby did all right for a first start in 7 months. I did as well, mate, to be honest. And, people are weird because, they dig at me saying about Longstaff and about Miggy. And I keep trying to explain. Well, we'll come to him in a minute. But, I keep trying to explain. Yes, I was critical of Miggy and I was critical of Longstaff. So were a lot of other people, right? But what we did hope was that they turned it around, and they have. And we always said all along, even with Joe Linton, I hope they throw egg in our faces and think, right, yeah, we're going to prove you wrong because we are good enough. And are we going to be upset about that? No, we're not. Now, if you talk about Chris Wood, on the other hand, yes, scored a really good goal at Southampton, but he's not good, guys. He isn't what we need. He's an instinctive striker. I'll give him that. He knows where the net is but it's when he's. I don't know what it is. I really don't. Look, he didn't get a lot of chances last night simply because we didn't create many. But there's just a difference in a gulf in class when you see the runs that Wilson makes, the hold-up play that Wilson, the way he roughs defenders up. Chris Wood doesn't do that. Callum Wilson is very physical.
There's a reason Wilson's just been called up to the England squad. He is at a much higher level than Chris Wood is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I'm not.
Listen, no, I'm not taking anything away from Chris Wood for effort-wise. He puts 100% in, and I'll never ever say anything else about him. But
it's a strange thing that people beat you with a stick that's just irrelevant. It's not like people aren't shouting at us because we're saying Trippier is better than Kraft. That's quite an accepted thing. I don't understand why we can't say that Wilson's better than Wood. It's not that Wood's terrible. He's not been brilliant, but he's been okay when needed. He scored some important penalties. He got the goal against Tranmere. He scored a few goals last season, but he's not Wilson. And it's fair to compare.
Indeed. Kyle says, how do we comment for the guys to see it? Well, I've read 2 of your comments out already, Kyle. But what you need to know about this channel is we will eventually get to your comments. When you've got the viewing figures that we have and the amount of comments that come in, it is very difficult to go through them all. But we try our best to get through as many as we can. Sometimes it's just in the chat and other people will reply to you, not necessarily us on screen. When do we get the cup draw? It's tonight, between 10 and 10:30 at some point. But we will stay on. I don't think Danielle's staying with us the whole gap, though, because she's knackered, and it's up to Alex to see whether he wants to stay on. But we'll see how we do. Alex, you've got some graphics there.
This is for Chelsea when we swapped to talking about Chelsea.
All right, okay. Well, we'll hang them there for
I love graphics.
I know you do. Lawrence says Gillingham is still in the cup as well. Yeah, Gillingham at home would be a good draw, and I still think we'd sell that out and all. But hey-ho. Shamrock says, Ari, you comment on your kids' poll, only messing. Of course I know you're only messing. Fair play. I sincerely hope they enjoyed themselves. I'm trying to talk my daughter into going over if I ever have the privilege, but having no joy. I'm sure you'll get there one day. And I did. Of course I knew it was your messing, mate. Listen, I was messing last night as well when I was giving them glaring looks when we were playing crap, certainly during that first half. I mean, look, it was that bad. Ben asked us to go to the toilet after 19 minutes, and I couldn't wait to take him just for something to do. But, you know, it did improve slightly. Space Passes, I thought we'd beat Blackburn at home near one of our FA Cup runs. Harper tipped one onto the post. Yeah, I'm seeing a few things in the comments about, was that our first penalty shootout win at St. James's?
Yep.
It was. All right, okay. That's fair enough. Toon PL says Bruno's penalty was a sight to behold. Bless him, though, for coming out and apologising for it. What a guy.
Classic.
I guess it just shows how much he cares, Danielle.
How much it means to him, absolutely. Yeah. I think in his head, he feels potentially that he's let we're down. He absolutely has not let we're down. It's one of those things, like, you know, nobody can be perfect, but he's damn close to perfect for me. So, you know, can forgive these things and move on. And as long as it doesn't get inside his head, I suppose. I think that's all that matters to me. We got through. We'll go again against Chelsea on Saturday, and that's it.
Exactly.
When I woke up this morning, I didn't think, "Oh, Bruno." Like
nobody thought that in the ground.
I sat up and thought, Nick Pope.
When he took the penalty, everyone was like, "Oh!" But then 2 seconds later, Nick Pope saves, and we win the game. Everybody had forgotten about Bruno's penalty. It didn't matter. But there you go.
I mean, Clinton Moulton on Sky Sports was a jinx. Everything he said, the opposite happened, and he said Bruno will score. Definitely, he's a classy player that he missed.
Yeah. Southampton got their goal when Mankio came on. Ryan says, you think we'll ever see Jamal Lewis make a comeback? I don't think so. I think if there was any game to play in, it would have been last night. Obviously, I know why he played Matty Targett, because he had to give Targett a go. But look, he's third choice left back now. So
you never know, because you've got Dummett and Richie will probably be first to go. Both of their contracts are expiring, whereas Jamal Lewis's contract expires in 2025, and he's 24 years old. So, you know, he might be fortunate enough, just it kind of circumstantial, that he might get another crack, but we'll see. Because we can't replace everybody in a window. We can't get rid of. There's a lot of contracts expiring. We've got about 5 contracts expiring in the summer. So, you know, I don't think that's including Karius. So we've got to be careful.
I mean, listen, I might be wrong, but I don't think we're going to make a lot of signings in January. I think we make a couple of big name signings, and that's it. And the way that they've been going, you know, they'll have a couple of targets to go for. They'll go all out to get them, and targets that are going to make or break the team for Europe. I think that's what they're going to do.
I think we might get a couple of youngsters as well, just to bring in and get started, maybe.
The 2 loans, Kel Watts and Matty Longstaff, they both return in January. They're not season long, so we've got 2 back that we're going to have to find homes for.
Yeah, I don't.
Matty Longstaff's contract expires in the summer as well.
Yeah, I think Matty will be away, to be honest. I don't think he'll be around next season. Header says, I stood on the pitch and watched Sir Joe lift the Fairs Cup. Yesterday, we took a step closer to more silverware. How are the lads?
Yes,
absolutely. We did. Chicken Tikka Taka says, Stato, what do you think of PIF investing an additional 75 million? Should I be excited for the January window?
No.
I don't think that has any bearing on the plan. I think the plan is already the plan. I think, as they mentioned, it's for infrastructure and facilities and to maintain the trajectory of the business.
I love talking about plans while Danielle's sitting there with a cat on her knee. It's like a James Bond villain. Oh, I love a plan, I do. I must destroy you, Mr. Bond. Dr. Spoons, good evening. Nice to see you and your good lady last night for the first time. And, of course, Tommy. I've been saying for a while that a right back needs strengthening with a young understudy.
Did anyone see the pictures of Kraft that Newcastle posted? And he was I thought that was, bless him, I've missed him.
Working very hard. Do you think he'll be back next season, Billy, still around the squad?
100%. Yeah, if he can maintain the kind of fitness that he needs to be to a professional footballer, yes, definitely, because he's definitely got some quality about him. Showed that at the end of last season, and yeah, I mean, we could actually give Kieran Trippier a rest if needed be. At the moment, I think we can't. So, if Kieran Trippier gets injured, we're in trouble. If we had Emil Kraft fit, it wouldn't be so bad, would it?
Yeah. So you know who needs to go is Gillespie. I'm bored. I'm bored of that situation now.
Yeah, I mean, he's just hanging around getting money, isn't he? I mean,
he's not in the squad. They brought in Karius as an emergency loan.
That's what I mean. He'd be getting paid as well, though. But they
still named Darlow. Even though Darlow was injured, they still named him in the squad and excluded Gillespie, so he's not even in the squad. What's the point?
What I found strange last night was that Karius was back on the bench.
Yeah, they went Karius, Darlow, Karius. I don't know why they did that.
Very weird.
Surely that fourth choice goalkeeper should be a youngster. What's the point in having a 30-year-old fourth choice?
Yeah, there is some good youngsters, goalkeepers in the academy, actually. Jimmy says, good evening, Jimmy. Having to watch a bad game on the phone on ESPN Gamecast made it more dreadful. At least I got to see the shootout this morning. Pope was the steal of the summer transfer window for any team.
Well said, Jimmy.
Shamrock says, you were right. They are not men, they are men, not robots, but we do have a botman. Yeah, we do. By the way, regarding Sniffer Billy, Ryan was getting stuck in as well, wasn't he, to him? As was Roy and Jimmy and everyone giving him grief.
Oh, God, yeah. They were in like little Yorkshire Terriers, they were. Tearing to bits.
I mean, he was deserving. He was chatting absolute nonsense. He was saying that we were slagging Willock off. And I think we've given Willock nothing but praise for about 8 or 9 months, to be fair. Willock's been brilliant for quite a long time. So
it's amazing how people twist things to fit a narrative, doesn't it? Like,
well, he was sent over to us to have a go at us because he kind of named somebody in his original comment. But let me just say, Sniffer, your grammar's fucking appalling.
Anyway, Ab says, spot on, Alex. Paul was offering Miggy to every La Liga team. I was, and I'm not denying it. Why are people trying to, listen, I didn't think he was good enough, okay? That was my opinion at the time.
I did the same with Joe.
Yeah, I was wrong, right? So, you don't understand how happy I am that I was wrong.
This is why I'm unwilling to write Manquillo off, because who knows?
Oh, I think it's a bit late for Manquillo, Alex. I really do. But hey, it's all about opinions.
Said that about Murphy literally
you know what it is?
5 weeks ago.
You'll probably end up being really class now you said that. So
but Murphy against Tranmere, we gave him a 1 and we went, nah, it's done. It's done. There's no coming back. And he's come back from it. So Eddie Howe is a genius. I'm not writing anybody off because Trippier might have a little knock. Manquillo might play 2-3 games and all of a sudden start playing really well. Yeah. You just don't know these things. We can't tell.
He needs minutes, but until Trippier gets injured, which we all hope doesn't happen, he's not going to get any, is he?
No, because I think the more further we go in the Carabao, the stronger team he's going to play. Ian says, target was poor for me watching live last night. He constantly passed his teammates into trouble by being so slow on the ball and telegraphing them. Oliver says, move on, please. Game done. We won. We talk about the game. I mean,
can't please all the people all the time.
Absolutely. Wood needs to give Bruno some penalty tips before the World Cup, says Ali. Good evening to Paul Sales. Rochi says, I don't like people have turned on Dubravka, people with short memories. For a lot of poor years, he was our saviour in many a game. Just saying.
I just don't like him in a Man U shirt.
That's fair. Like I said in the last show, what I thought about Dubravka, I was always team Dubravka. However, I can't lie and say the sight of him in a Manchester United top doesn't make us feel like I want to vomit. And that's just how it feels for me.
Yep.
I don't like it.
Cesare says, can you imagine Shearer or Duncan Ferguson doing a stutter run-up and a pirouette in a penalty? No, to be honest. Absolutely not. But hey-ho. The run-up is part of Bruno's makeup. What makes him so special? Don't beat that out of him.
I agree, absolutely.
But nobody is, to be honest. We wouldn't have to go to penalties if Bruno didn't come on in the second half.
That's fair, Ian. Mm-hmm. If a team was stronger, I think that's what he means. He wouldn't have gone to penalties.
Look, it was clear when he made those substitutions, the step up in class that we had on the pitch. It was there to see. We put Palace under a lot of pressure late on, and it obviously there wasn't enough time, but we did create some more opportunities after those substitutions were made. Francisco says, I think last night showed a reassessment of priorities. If we had been 6th or 7th in the league, I think the team would have looked different. But given our place, it's league over cup, I think.
Agree with that.
Yeah, but he does want to win trophies, Eddie Howe. So, he put out a team last night, which I think he was confident would have beaten Crystal Palace comfortably. It just didn't work out that way. He said that in the interview.
This is a funny thing that people are arguing about at the moment. I don't think it has to be an argument, but what some people maybe haven't considered is if we prioritize the league now, it fast tracks how good we are. We can be better sooner and win more trophies sooner. So yeah, I understand that everybody would really love to win a cup this year. Fair enough. So would I. But if we can somehow finish in the top 4, that then means we can upgrade way faster in the summer, which means we're stronger for pushing for trophies next year and the year after. So it's people choosing trophies or higher up in the league. The league is going to help to win more trophies quicker because we can have more investment. That needs to be considered as well because there's so much more money in finishing in the top 4. And people, I know lifting the cup's amazing, but getting to watch us 6 times in the group stage.
Billy, can I just stop you there for a second? You were cheering for Aston Villa.
Yeah, but it is Man United, though. It is Man United.
Okay.
It's the less of two evils.
That's a good point, Billy, actually. Yes.
We'd beat both of them. But
who made a mistake in the goal? Did Dubravka fumble?
No.
Oh.
Who scored?
Watkins.
Oh, wow. Okay. Any chance for Dubravka?
He's one-on-one with him. He's come out a bit slow getting out, and Watkins just chipped over him into the net.
It would be funny if Villa beat Man U back-to-back on the trot, and we absolutely pumped them a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Julie J saying that they have Botman in. Now, I've just checked a couple of Netherlands media things, and they are predicting that Botman will be in the squad. The Dutch squad is announced tomorrow. So, hey, I'll tell you what. Will says, why do you think Karius wasn't given a run out last night?
I think we're all glad he wasn't because we needed Pope.
Oh, the Man United fans surrounding the referee want VAR. There ain't no VAR. Unlucky.
Oh, they're doing it again.
There's a handball there. There was a handball there. There's no VAR.
There isn't any.
No.
Oh, they're not specially. Have they not specially put VAR in for tonight, Billy?
No, they haven't because Maguire and about 4 of the surrounding the referee. There was a handball, and it could be one each now, and here's one each straight away. Martial.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Unbelievable.
Who scored?
Martial. David's asking how Cody is today. He's very well, thank you. He's doing really well.
He's in the England squad.
Yeah.
And he's no longer dead to Paul. Mm-hmm.
And Andy had a shite beside Susan's desk today. So,
did he? Oh, bless him.
Of course, the thing is, I've got no sense of smell because of my Parkinson's. I can't smell anything now. So I can't smell if he sneaks into a dark room and does a duty.
Bless him.
Susan's sitting there going. And I thought it was just wind off the amount of vegetables she fed me today. But it wasn't. It was, I went in the back room and there was, some stringy little dog eggs for me to pick up.
Bless him.
Up the A1, thank you very much for your £5 super chat. We've got Bruno in the middle, he's a class above, and the rest of the squad know it, and so do us.
Well said.
Yeah. Rachel says, hope to meet a few of you on Saturday. Indeed, Rachel. Looking forward to saying hello. Ab says one penalty miss doesn't mean you never take another one. Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. Ashington says, I would really like to see a Trippier replacement. I think you mean understudy. I think Trippier's got a couple of years left in him just yet. Okay, Alex. Let's have a look at your... Alex is with us for about another 15 minutes. So there you go. Take it away.
Right, we've not really talked about Chelsea, have we? But I mean, they're nervous about playing us. I don't know if any of you have spoken to in real life Chelsea fans, but a lot of them on social media and in my life they all seem quite scared or unsure about this game, which is nice. So going on the FOTMob stats, just seeing kind of where they're ranking in key things. They're 8th for general rating, 12th for goals per match, so they're quite low down there. 6th for goals conceded, so they're not doing too bad defensively. 4 clean sheets. They're down in 14th for expected goals, so their XG is pretty low, to be fair, at 15.3. Average possession is pretty huge, close to 60%. They are in 3rd for possession. But a lot of these are all they're very low. For a Chelsea side, you'd expect all these metrics to be in the top 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
They're not. Shots on target are well down. Big chances created are really, really hugely down. Some of these are not a massive indicator. XG conceded as well, the middle of the pack. They've also conceded penalties awarded 2. And if you scroll down, 2 red cards, 28 yellows and 7th. So they're not typically where you'd expect Chelsea to be on all of these metrics. They're quite far down. And if we have a look at the tactics board, so we can see who we're likely to play against. This was their lineup in their last league game against Arsenal. So they went with the 4-2-3-1 with Mendy in goal. Of course, they play a lot of wing backs. They play funny wing back systems with sometimes Sterling or Loftus-Cheek being wing backs. Potter's trying to do interesting things at the moment. It's not quite going as planned. But the depth here is just filthy. We talk about rotation. We didn't quite have the strength in rotation for the Palace game. Koulibaly, Champions League player. Gallagher, arguably, you just got picked for the England squad. Pulisic is definitely Champions League quality. Ziyech, you've got Kovacic. Zakaria's only just started coming into the fold again. Broja's still a work in progress. But that is a huge... How many players is that? 7. That's 7. That's not to mention Kepa either. So that's a huge amount of talent that can rotate in. And in terms of recent results... a bit squiffy as of late. Zoom in so we can see a bit more. Yeah,
squiffy.
Well, not what they'd have hoped. You can see on the form table there with the loss, draw, wins. So ours is looking lovely with the 4 wins and a draw. So a loss to City in the Cup. They didn't play terribly, to be fair. It's just a very good Man City side. The loss to Arsenal, a narrow win against Zagreb in the Champions League. That actually got pumped by Brighton. They narrowly got past Salzburg as well. Salzburg didn't do bad in that game. And then draws against Man United, draw against Brentford. So you've got to go back to all the way to Villa the 16th of October before you see sort of a competent win in the league or any win in the league. You've got to go all the way back to the middle of October. So it's not going super well.
And that was down to Tyrone Mings and 2 mistakes, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was there. That was the funny Mings game. So if we actually click on their lineup, so this was the lineup they've just played. They've just used against Man City in the Cup. So they went with a funny wing-back system. They went with Lewis Hall and Loftus-Cheek as the wing-backs. Cucurella as a left-sided centre-back, which they tried at Brighton a few times. It's kind of difficult to suggest what they're going to try against us. Because City normally go with a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, mostly a 4-2-3-1. So I can't tell if Potter's gonna go for a funny wing-back system. Obviously, the one advantage Potter's got is he's already played us once, quite recently, with Brighton, and set up very well, and we struggled against Brighton. So Potter can definitely take from that recent experience, and doesn't necessarily mean that Chelsea are going to be able to translate that themselves as players, but just fingers crossed we have a better game than we did last time. And
does Potter have that kind of player in the Chelsea squad? He hasn't really got those kind of players in that Chelsea squad, has he, though, Alex?
He does have. He's got people that can score from sort of anything. Well, not as much recently, but
he hasn't got a Caicedo, for instance, has he? Kante being out.
No, but they do have Zakaria, who is a vastly underrated player.
Yeah, he is.
Depends on whether he starts or not. And we've just got to hope because Havertz, as much as we hate him, he's very ratty and cheaty. He has got extreme quality and he's very clinical. If you give him a sniff, he'll score. He's very dangerous.
But it's also a question, Alex, of if Chelsea have bought into what Potter wants to do, because that's what I'm certainly hearing from sort of Chelsea podcasts and things like that. Then the players just don't really believe in what Potter's trying to do, and it's causing a bit of, because they did looked all over the shop the last few games. They really have.
It's a huge team. It's a massive squad to balance, because you've got, as I just showed you, the 6 or 7 odd players who were all probably good enough to be starting that aren't going to be able to start.
Yeah,
we've got a huge squad. We don't have that problem right now. Manquillo's not going to be saying, "Oh, I'm better than Trippier, let me start." Whereas in this Chelsea squad, there's going to be pretty much all the bench is going to be challenging, saying, "I'm better than my counterpart in the starting 11. I want to play." So it's just whether Potter can manage that. It's a very different kettle of fish to what Brighton was, with playing Moneyball and then buying into it. I think Chelsea would be incredible if Potter's given time to work his magic, but it just depends on whether he's got the man management skills to get these on board. And hopefully it doesn't click fast enough and we can smash him on Saturday. So fingers crossed.
Well, I've been doing my homework again, so we'll just go through those. Newcastle against Chelsea, all-time record. Now, this obviously includes matches in whatever division, cup games, etc. We've played Chelsea in our history 171 times. Newcastle have won 54, Chelsea have won 78, and we've drawn 39. Now, the last Premier League game at St James's Park was on the 30th of October 2021. And Graham Jones was in charge of that game because it was just before Mr. Howe had been appointed. Can anyone remember?
3-0. I was there. You got me tickets, remember, Paul?
Yes, I did. And you weren't very thankful for them after the game. But yeah, it was a 3-0 loss. Reece James scored 2 cracking goals in that game. Now, the last Premier League game that we've won against Chelsea at St James's Park was on the 18th of January 2020. Can anyone remember that one?
Is that a 1-0?
It was a 1-0, Billy. Yes, we won 1-0. So quite a while. But the all-time Premier League record against Chelsea, not that great, to be honest. We've played Chelsea 54 times in the Premier League history, and we have won only 13 of those games. And Chelsea have won 29, with 12 being draws. The goal difference is quite
stark,
incredible. We've scored 47 times against Chelsea. They have scored against us 83 times. So there is a big gulf in goals. But we also know now that there is a big change at Newcastle United. And, for once, I'm really not bothered about the history against Chelsea because it's for the now. We are playing, we're a different animal to what we've ever been against Chelsea, quite frankly. David Smith, thank you for your £4.49 super chat. He says, I've been lucky to see us put 5 past Chelsea twice. 5-1 in August 67 and 5-0 in November 74. Wow. Great if we could do it again.
Absolutely, I'm on board.
Yeah, just a bit. So before we lose Danielle and Alex, we'll obviously do our team predictions and scores. So Alex, we'll start with you. What's your predicted lineup?
It is going to be Pope, Burn, Botman, Share, Trippier. And then the midfield's a tricky one.
It really is.
But I think he's going to go... I think he's going to possibly drop Willock for this and go for work rate.
Okay.
And go for Joelinton, Bruno, and Longstaff in midfield. Not that Willock deserves to be dropped. I'm just trying to think what he might do, what might work best. And you can always bring on Willock, half time or an hour. And then the front three, again, is a tricky one, but I think he's going to go with Maxi. I think it'll be Maxi, Wilson, and Miggy. It could be pretty much our strongest side.
Interesting. Danielle, what about you?
Pretty similar team, but for mine, I wouldn't have dropped Willock. I think Willock will play, and I think Murphy will start rather than Maxi. I don't think I've seen anything from Maxi that means to
2-1 Villa.
Really?
2-1 Villa.
Oh, tasty.
Leon Bailey.
No, I think Murphy starts over ASM.
Dubravka's fault. Sorry, Danielle.
No.
Oh dear.
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah.
So go through your team again, Danielle.
So mine's the same as Alex, but I wouldn't drop Willock. I think Longstaff is dropped just because he's knackered.
Yeah.
Honestly, I do think he's absolutely shattered. So I think Willock comes in, and I think Maxi. I wouldn't start Maxi. I'd bench him and play Murphy. I don't think we've seen anything from Maxi to say start.
It's a pathetic own goal. It's not like Dubravka's fault. It's Diego Dallo's made.
That's just my opinion. Before all the trolls start cutting things and posting them again.
Indeed. Billy, I've sent you a message, by the way. Frau.
Put messages.
No, it's just. Frau says, thank you for your super chat of $20. He says, Newcastle 4, Chelsea 2, 1994. When I introduced my daughter into the world and Newcastle United. Wow. Okay. Nice one. Right, Billy, what's your team?
Same back five as everyone else's pick. Pope, Trippier, Botman, Cher, and Byrne. In midfield, I'm going to go for Bruno, Longstaff, and Willock. Joe Linton on the left, Miggy on the right, and Wilson in the middle.
Interesting.
Wow. Mine is the same back five as everybody else, funny enough. Midfield, I'm going for Bruno, Joe Linton, and Willock. And the front three, I think, will be Miggy, Wilson, and Maxi. So I think
he doesn't drop Longstaff. No, he doesn't drop Longstaff. I'd be so shocked.
Listen,
I'd be shocked if he does.
I don't mind if he plays Longstaff. To be honest, I'm not really bothered either way.
We're not bad. We're just saying he chatted yesterday. That's all.
I just think Alex, if you'd seen him on the pitch yesterday, he just looked just dead. He looked so tired.
How many minutes did he play? Because he got subbed at some point, didn't he?
He got subbed at the last.
Was it very late?
I think it was. Yeah.
I'll have a look.
Was it? Yeah, I think it was. I think it was very late on. If you have a check, I can't remember.
66 minutes. Bruno came on for him. 66.
Yes, he did. Yes. It'd be interesting to see. You know, Eddie always.
That's just what we think.
Yeah, he has a surprise or two for us, doesn't he? But you know, with the World Cup break, he may well stick with Longstaff. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's have a look. Foxy says, I went Newcastle versus Chelsea when we beat them 2-1 with a Cisse double. Taylor got sent off, and Jack Anick came on late in goal and looked really shaky.
That was the Cisse double.
Yes, God Almighty. I've seen the Premier League, or somebody tweeted out today, is this the best ever Premier League goal? And it was Cisse's shot from the wing. I mean, God Almighty, just incredible. Even when you think about it, the technique and the swerve he got, and just mental, absolutely mental. But hey ho, right, score predictions. This is the biggie. Alex.
2-1.
And who's going to score?
I think Havertz will get one for them. And I think it will be a Wilson goal. And I think Dan Burns going to get one.
Ooh, Wilson and Byrne. Okay.
I want him to get one because that'd be funny because he's been omitted from the squad, and then I want him to go and score and be like, ha.
And then lift up his Newcastle shirt and have a T-shirt underneath saying, I should be in the England squad.
I mean, I did just see a really cool, I've got a thing that just popped up on Twitter from Mozzo Football. It's Dan Burn has played more minutes, has more clean sheets, makes more clearances, makes more successful tackles, and is winning more total duels than both Harry Maguire and John Stones this season in the Premier League.
Wow.
Picking players on form.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
Billy, score prediction?
I don't think these players are performing for Potter. I think there's a bit of dissent in the camp. I think that'll be good for us, and I think we'll beat them 3-0.
Wow. And who's going to score?
Don't be surprised if it's a Wilson hat-trick.
Oh. Danielle?
Well, you know my rules, guys. So you're leaving us no choice again. I'm going 4-0.
Oh, 4-0. Jesus Christ.
Hey, listen, right? I don't care. I think after the stuff with St. James's last year, like, nah, they've got to come in. I think Bruno's going to be out to kind of in his own head correct what happened yesterday, even though for me there's nothing to correct. I think he'll get one. I think Wilson will get 2, and I think Miggy again.
Okay, fair enough. I'm not going for the 7-0 much now. I'm saving that for the Champions League final.
Fair.
Fair enough. I'm going same as Alex, actually. I'm going 2-1. I think it will be a tight game, but listen, 2-2.
Oh.
Marcus Rashford.
It's a Desmond. It's a Desmond. So there you go. I'm going 2-1, but listen, I'd love it if it was 4-0, 3-0, or whatever it may be. I certainly wouldn't be bothered to lose out on the score predictions this week, but there you go. Right, we're doing it a little bit differently tonight, guys. Bill, we're going to take a break. Billy is going to come back at 10 o'clock with the Carabao Cup show. He's going to host that, and he'll be with you through the draw to see who we get in the next round. So we will be back Billy will be back at 10 o'clock with that. Thank you to everybody that's joined us for this show. Thank you to all the super chatters, the mod squad, everybody for taking part in the chat and watching. If you have enjoyed tonight's show, please don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help us if you hit the like button, because it does put us up the search results on YouTube when people are looking for Newcastle United content. And if you're new and you've liked what you've seen, please do hit that hit the like button again. Well, do it again. Please do hit the subscribe button, become part of the community. Why not join us on the Facebook group? We're on Twitter as well and Instagram. So have a look for us on there, and TikTok, I believe, as well. So we're all on the socials. So join us for that. And of course, tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, TDR Friday. Will we have the funny men in again? Who knows? You'll just have to wait and see. But it's bound to be a laugh, whatever happens. But don't forget to join us for that. And then, of course, Billy's watch along on Friday night. But we'll schedule some more shows and let you know as time goes on. What did that say?
Friday night.
Bollocks. Saturday. Saturday, 5 o'clock. Billy will be live with the watch along. So don't forget to join him for that and show me your support as usual. But thank you very much for watching, guys. Billy will be back at 10 p.m. with the Carabao Cup draw to see who we get in the next round on our way to winning the cup. But that's it for now. We'll all see you again tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Don't forget, my press conference reaction video will be out at some point tomorrow as well. So please do give that a watch. Until then, good night.
Good night,
guys. See you, guys.